in the good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, wherever you are in the country. We want to say welcome to the Freedom Global team, the Global Freedom team with Mr. Charles White, Mr. Stephen McNeil, Johnny Green, and Tanisha Glaspie, and a host of others that are here to provide a clarity on our plan and give you a vision of our CEO, Mr. Joseph Hite, and a GS Partners global team. Now, if this is your first time being with us, or second or third, we want to say thank you and welcome back. If you've not been here before, we want to say welcome. And if you are already registered as a GS Partner family member, please, if you could actually text us in the chat where you are dialing in from. We want folks to see that this is a global team. If you could actually just put in the chat where you are zooming in from. We have Durham, North Carolina. Thank you, Ms. Webb. We got upstate New York. We got Arizona. Thank you, Ms. Tanisha Glaspie. We got Chicago, Fred Moore, and a host of others. Australia in the house. Wow. What time it is in Australia, Virginia Beach. We also have Texas, Henderson, Montgomery, Alabama. Roll Tide. Looks like we got Texas. What else we got in here, folks? We got a host of other people actually zooming in. And while we get started, I definitely want to give honor and respect to our leader who started this years ago, Dr. Tyrone Best and his queen, Miss Valerie Best, and family want to say thank you. We know they have gone on, but their work has never stopped. It won't stop. And one thing he's always left me with was simplicity creates duplication, and duplication creates wealth. And we're gonna talk about that. So just a couple of key things that you need to remember. If you have not been here before, please take out a pen and a piece of paper. We want you to take some copious notes. Just a couple of rules that we actually guide by and follow. We want to wait till the end. We might have a few minutes left for just a couple of questions. We want to say thank you again for being here. We definitely want you to put all distractions away. My good friend Nate Hines would always say, put all distractions away. That be men, women, boys, girls, cats, dogs, goldfish, all ages. Please put them away. And with no further ado, I'm going to introduce to some and present to others my good friend, mentor, and then also he's my sponsor, Mr. Steph McNeil. If you are available, you can unmute yourself. Come on camera, let the folks see those pearly whites. We want to introduce to some the information that's going to create a lot of information in reference to the elemental certificates. So with those certificates create, as I said before, wealth. How do we get there? Where it all started? Mr. McNeil is going to go over that. And then we're going to be introduced to a good friend of mine who used to be in the financial sector for over 42 years. He's going to bring to you some understanding and clarity on where the world is and what we have to combat the issues in our world, which is the poverty and the negative interest rates that the banks are paying us. So with no further ado, I'm going to release the beast, the man, and the legend, my good friend, my mentor and brother, as before said, Mr. Steph McNeil. You now have the mic. The floor is yours, sir.
I'm a legend in my own mind. no, no one else thinks that. And no, in all seriousness, no, I don't think that either. But thank you very much, Mr. Johnny Green Jr. I appreciate your kind words as usual. You know, you're one of those guys that's been here since day one. You're a day one brother. You've been true to the game ever since. And so those of you who may not be new, I see some new guests that I invited on. Mr. Johnny Green Jr. comes from the financial world, very successful as one of the #1 closers for a financial automotive group out of the Redmond, Bellevue, Kirkland area, the area that hosts most of the top people in the Microsoft, Google, and all that. And he never had days off, never had a weekend off out of 20-something years because he was the closer. And he has an amazing story, a mid-6-figure earner, and he's over here full-time now, doing phenomenal things, helping a lot of families get freed up and have financial resets. So, and I'm grateful to be able to run alongside a guy like Mr. Johnny Green Jr. because he's committed. and he's true to the game, operating with integrity. So thanks again, Mr. Johnny Green Jr. I'm going to welcome everyone to the call. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get to it, because the guy you want to hear from is not me. He's the next guy coming behind me, and he is the beast. We're going to unleash the beast, right? And it's going to come after me here. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and we'll go ahead and get started. All right, Mr. Green, let me know if you see my screen okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much here. And so, there's a lot of things happening right now and in this space of blockchain and crypto. And we see a lot of things happening in the financial world, the financial sector as well. Well, I want to go back a few years to when I was exposed to this. I come from, some insurance background. I had a couple companies, New York Life and Allstate Insurance Agency. And when I sold my company, I was looking for something else to do a couple years later. And a friend of mine exposed me to Bitcoin. And he said the future of money was here, and it was Bitcoin. It was 2009. It made 0 sense to me. And I didn't do it, nor did I do any homework. 2 years later, another friend of mine called me and said, the future of money is here, Stephan. Have you heard of Bitcoin? And I said, I have. He said, what did you do? And I said, I did nothing. I didn't get involved. I asked him 2 questions. Who was the founder? He said Satoshi Nakamoto, but no one ever met him. And that was my first red flag. And the second one was, I said, tell me about the corporate headquarters. He said, well, there's no corporate headquarters. That was the second one. I didn't do anything, nor did I do any homework. Bitcoin in 2009 was 47 cents a coin, $1.12 in 2011. My mentor, Dr. Best, gave me a call to tell me the future money is here. Stephan, this crypto space is blowing up. Let's go. And I said, where do I sign? Didn't ask any questions, because of who he was to me. I know how much he vetted out things and how he operates in integrity at the highest level. It was just the fact that he called me saying that, and I was all in, did my homework later. What I discovered was that it was the future of money in my homework and doing my due diligence. And I pray and ask God, you got to give me a way to explain this, to share this with people where they don't miss this message because of the messenger. Because I needed to get this information out to a gang of people. And so he gave me this whole idea of economies of time that we've all lived through, where there's a paradigm shift in the marketplace, where new inventions and products and services change the way we do life, where different resources are allocated or they've been distributed in a new way, and it changed the way we do life. We've walked through a ton of them. So we fast forward to more in this tech age, we start back in the 70s, late 70s and 80s, with this whole concept of Web 1.0. Well, some of us remember we didn't have computers, right? We didn't have the internet. Then all of a sudden we got this internet. We heard of Yahoo and Google and MSN. That was Web 1.0. Then Web 2.0, it changed again. Now you can kind of get involved and participate. You got WhatsApp, you got Amazon Web Services, Uber, Google, IG, Facebook, and it's changing the way we do life, how we communicate. Web 3.0, where now it's changing, where we're starting to see the intersection of finance and technology finally starting to begin with Web 3.0, where now you can start having decentralized networks, and it changes everything. So we look at this picture of this gentleman here, and we look at all these devices that we've grown up and lived through and had at our disposal or acquired, whether it's the Walkman or the boombox or the camcorder, or you look at the cassette player on his elbow. You look at all these different devices that we've had that once never was, right? And it became the thing that we got to have and we needed to have. Well, just a few years later, this incredible individual, Mr. Steve Jobs, he invented this thing called the smart device, the smartphone. Him and his team of engineers. They took all the things that you see here and put in this small device. So when there's a paradigm shift on technology, when it makes a move, it never asks our permission. No one called me to say, Stephan, look, we're about to bring out this new DVD player. I know y'all got like a closet full of VHS cassettes, all them old movies, the Hallmark movies my wife loved, but we're gonna bring out this new cassette. I was one of those people that didn't want to move. I'm like, nah, I'm not buying that DVD. We got all these doggone movies. Sure enough, a few years later, you can't find the movies, nor do they replay the replayers. DVDs are the rave. And so we look at continuing, we see what's happening in our marketplace, where we see our purchasing power of our dollar, the old greenback, starting to diminish. In 1980, $20 could get you a lot of groceries. In 2000, it got you a few more groceries, a few less. But now in 2023, everybody's talking about it. Man, you've seen the prices of groceries lately? Forget gas, we're talking about groceries. The purchasing power of the dollar is diminishing. And so we see the same thing happen in the inverse with Bitcoin. Again, the future of money, right? I didn't get it at first. And I'm watching this thing happen. So in the same time, we look at in 2011, where you see Bitcoin literally get you just a few groceries. 10 years later, that same one Bitcoin could purchase you a car. And they're projecting by 2030, that same one Bitcoin can buy you a house. It's amazing as the times that we're living in, where things are changing. And speaking of change, Mr. Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan Chase, he's their CEO. He made this statement in 2017. He says that Bitcoin is a fraud and it won't end well. So he's talking about some things that are happening in a major way. And it's blowing up right as we speak. And then you see now, in just a few days ago, where JP Morgan rolled out their own coin blockchain payment system in Euro. So just like I can change, I'm not a tree, so can you, and so can Jamie Dimon. He's still the current CEO, and he's changing everything. Fidelity reporting to be the next to file a Bitcoin ETF and ahead of BlackRock. Some of us have been reading about BlackRock, one of the largest financial groups on the planet, doing over $64 trillion in revenue annually. Crazy money. Europe's biggest bank adds support for Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs. It's happening all around the globe. It doesn't matter if Uncle Ray, who I know, love, and trust, tells me, hey, I don't think that Bitcoin crypto is a thing to do. He's very sincere. And my Auntie Mamie, or my Aunt Geraldine, which I have an Aunt Geraldine, she's sincere, but she just happened to be sincerely wrong. This is something that's happening in real time right before our eyes. As we look at, again, Morgan Stanley Bank putting over, several $100 million in the various blockchain projects. And by the way, we are not a crypto company. GS Partners is a blockchain company. So we're a tech company in the financial tech world and doing phenomenal things. And so banking is moving into the same space on the blockchain. Goldman Sachs putting over $600 million in the various projects. BNY, that's our country's oldest bank, right? Primarily out of New York, over $600 million in the various crypto projects to the right. You can see where this is happening in real time. Citigroup, that's another financial group that we all know, love, and trust. Wells Fargo, HSBC, doing some really unique things. I want to go back up here to Goldman Sachs and look at Certec on the right. And I highlight this every time because I want to make this clear. We all lived through it. I want to jog your memory if possible. You remember back in the late 80s and early 90s when you could go to Best Buy or Circuit City buying computer products, and they would have a software you bought in a box. It was called Security by McAfee, designed to help protect us as we navigated the internet. Certec is actually running the same play. You see, McAfee was onto something. Everybody's going to eventually use this product, this new internet, this computer. So let's help protect them when they navigate it. Well, the blockchain is the future of the internet. It's the next level. It's unhackable. It's immutable. It's an amazing product we're on now. Well, Certec's providing security for that. They run that same play. There'll be a name that'll be a household name in the next 5 to 10 years as it becomes, we start seeing a full global adoption. Meanwhile, right now, less than 5% of the global population has adopted blockchain. So they're in the right place at the right time, and so are you. Former Goldman Sachs executive predicts over 1 billion users flooding the market. BlackRock, look at it. They're the world's largest asset manager, and they're filing for a Bitcoin ETF. So watch the tea leaves, see what's happening. Banks don't make money, they don't make products. They actually generate profit off of our money, right? And most of the financial institutions are moving this space in a real big way. Bitcoin making a resurgence. You all look at the charts, you see it starting to move in a major way. The EU votes to allow their banks to hold up to 2% of capital in Bitcoin and other crypto projects. So when we look at what's happening in our global marketplace right now around the world, a lot of things, in my opinion, appear to be broke. And so when I look at the verb form of what this means in past tense, it's divided, shattered, separated into pieces as a result of shock or strain. Our economy is straining, not just nationally in our country, but because of the internet, we have businesses and economies without borders. Everybody's experiencing some of the same stuff, infringed or they ignored, acting in contrary to rule of law or a promise. We see that's happening all over. So if I look at, if I'm going to describe this, the adjective form of it, it's an informal having no money, bankrupt, moneyless. And so if our supply chain is broke, our medical system is broke, trust in the media is broke, approval ratings historically broke, inflation, we know that's going out of, it's all out of whack. It's incredible. Incentives are broke. We see grandma and them working at Walmart now. You know, when I grew up, most of my friends or college students were working at Walmart. So grandma and them broke too. They didn't make the choice to go to work at Walmart because they're bored. It's just that some of them outlived their money or their financial planners. And I'm not a financial planner. Somebody miscalculated and didn't factor in the keeping up with the rate of inflation. So they got to work just to make ends meet. And so I'm going to stop my screen because I'm going to get to it. There's more to share here, but I don't want to belabor the moment. I think you get what's happening right now all around our world, where we see people are looking for, options. They're losing confidence in the system. We don't know if my money's going to be gone tomorrow in the bank. So it's happening in front of our eyes, and we want to make sure we educate and not sell. And I want to bring on a gentleman who's actually really, really crushing this business in a major, major way. He's a man of integrity. He's been phenomenal at what he does. He's a former senior VP of relationship management for a large Midwestern insurance company headquartered in Ohio. He currently possesses over 41 years of experience in the financial services industry. He's led leadership positions in banks, brokerage firms, insurance companies, and he's done some amazing things. He's had some incredible designations, all of them, not all of them, I think. I listed a couple of them here, Series 7, 24, 63. And he's a chartered retirement planning counselor designation. I mean, we're learning so much by just listening to this guy. I know I am. He's got a way with words of making the financial terminology very plain and very useful. He's coined a lot of phrases that we all use, redeploying your funds. Have your money bring you a paycheck every week. I never heard that before until I met Mr. Charles White. Mr. Charles White, we appreciate you, brother. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Stephen, for that great introduction. Thank you for being here as well. You know that that economies of time presentation, it just fits so well to, how do we get here? And so I want to talk a little bit about that a little bit. How did we get here? And because, one of the words you used was broke. And so grandma and grandpa ain't the only ones that's broke. And you'll see that here in a minute. But I want to thank you for coming tonight. I am always astounded that about 150 people would come out on Tuesday night and listen to this old fuddy-duddy. I call myself a fuddy-duddy. I don't know. That may be a word that's not in your vocabulary because you're too young. But Stefan's right. One of the things we learned in the Chartered Retirement Planning course that we took from the American University was that we learned how to manage someone's money so they could take 4% per year and not exhaust their funds. When you said that, Mr. McNeil, that reminded me of the target. It was you would be able to take, so that if you had $1 million, you could take $40,000 out every year and not exhaust your funds over the 25 or 35 or 45 years of your retirement until your death, to keep you from running out of money. That's the first thing I thought of. 4% per year. Four, count them, 4. The second thing I thought of is when you said somebody didn't plan well for grandma and grandpa. Okay, those planners won't even talk to you unless you have a couple $100,000, like $250,000. So grandma and grandpa didn't see a planner. because a planner would not see them. And I don't know if the numbers, I've been retired for a few years. I don't know if that's still the number or not, $250,000, or if it's gone up to $500,000. You see, the planners, the securities reps, they want to, their mission is to put you on what's called managed money. And they will charge you 1, 1.5, or 2% per year, depending on how much you have. If you got a couple $1 million, you may get away with 1% per year. And so if they're making that 1%, 1.5%, or 2% per year, Mr. McNeil, how likely are they going to be to embrace anything that would take the money out of their control and out of that payment system that pays them handsomely? Let me tell you something, if you got $100 million, you do the math. Customers with $100 million or $150 million. I've known financial advisors that have $1 billion in assets under management. You do the math at 2% per year. They're living large. They've got people in the back that manage all the money and, pick all the stocks, and they've got cookie cutter stuff. They do this thing where they interview you and then they send you to the cookie cutter people, and they place you in these funds, or they buy a basket of stocks for you. I've been through that. I've seen it. So if you go to your financial advisor and tell them about this project that you heard about, the first thing they're going to do is discourage you. The second thing they're going to do is say, I've never heard of it before. And they haven't, because we always protect the house. We never let our financial advisors look at things outside of our industry. Same with insurance, same with banking. Want you focused, don't want anything that comes out of your mouth to distract our customers from leaving their money here where we can make money on it. I just wanted to say that. I think that was in my heart and on my mind, and I think that had to be said. So your financial advisor, when you go to them about this project, they won't know, because they're not allowed to explore things outside of the securities industry. Can't do it. They can't explore things that they're outside of annuities in the insurance industry. They can't do it. They can't explore things that are outside of the bank. And they'll tell you, this has to be a scam, because we have 5% APY. That's annual percentage yield. And when you tell them that you found 5% WPY, weekly percentage yield, they'll think you're nuts and that you're involved in a scam, and they'll try to block your wire transfer to take your money out of the bank, only because they're losing control and they're not getting a cut. I worked for years with banks, and they encourage their customers to go talk to the insurance rep or the financial advisor that's sitting on the floor. Now, why would they do that and discourage them from talking to you? Because they're not getting a cut. They're not getting a cut. You see, when we had advisors on the floor in the banks, over 20,000 advisors across the United States, every time they sold one of our products, the bank got a cut. The bank got a cut. It was a source of revenue for them. Why would you want to willingly give up your revenue? I need to get off this soapbox, Mr. McNeil, but I had to say those things because we have people on here that are taking this is an innovation. This product that I'm going to tell you about tonight is an innovation. It takes something old, like a certificate of deposit, and something new, like fintech, and merges them together and creates something magnificent. We're using terms here. I call it nomenclature. Our nomenclature, in the bank, in the securities industry, they call it a yield. And they say the annual percentage yield. We're talking about weekly here. Weekly percentage yield. Weekly. Every 7 days. Our certificates, when you redeploy your money from your brokerage firm, from your bank, from your annuity, from your certificate of deposit, from your 401k. I'm talking about all this stuff because our minds are holding us back. We're afraid to do something new because, my friend Johnny did something and he lost all his money. Guess what? That's not us. That's not us. We're not on trial here. Mr. McNeil, I'm happy to report that as of last Friday, Mrs. White and I have tripled our money in the last 12 months. Tripled our money in the last 12 months. Yes, thank you. So with that being said, I think I've said enough. I've certainly said enough about my personal stuff, but I am going to, again, welcome you. Thank you for coming. I've got a little presentation I'm going to do. If I can find it, I'm going to share my screen and check the boxes like I'm supposed to, Ms. Glasty, and find that presentation. Which one am I going to do? That one. Share. Okay, let's make it big. Let's see if we can move it along.
Every day, everywhere in the world, people wake up, get dressed, and head off to make a living, following the path they've chosen. But deep down inside, there's always a desire for a better way, a simpler way, a legitimate way to make more money, have more free time, and enjoy life rather than just work until we die. We have found a 100% legitimate, inexpensive, logical system with a valuable product and real-time commissions. Generate income with just a cell phone and an internet connection from anywhere at any time. Get started now, get paid now. Do you look for Every day, everywhere in the world, people wake up, get dressed, and head off to make a living, following the path they've chosen. But deep down inside, there's always a desire for a better way, a simpler way, a legitimate way to make more money, have more free time, and enjoy life rather than just work until we die. We have found a 100% legitimate, inexpensive, logical system with a valuable product and real-time commissions. Generate income with just a cell phone and an internet connection from anywhere at any time. Get started now, get paid now. Do you look for ways to make more money? Ask for info and we will send you more information. Let's talk.
Yes, let's talk. Mrs. Delco did a wonderful job on that presentation. It sounds so nice. I thought, I'll hit the wrong button and play it twice. Oh, not twice, not 3 times now. Come on. I know you're saying, why am I here? Everybody says that. Why am I here? Because the opportunity is bigger than you think. These are the questions you may be asking yourself. Is my money investment? That's a bad word because we're not allowed to use that word here. This is not an investment. This is a deposit. Is my deposit safe? Is my money guaranteed? That word belongs to the financial institutions. Remember that word I talked about earlier, nomenclature? Each financial sector has its own nomenclature. The word investment belongs to the securities industry. The word guaranteed belongs to the banking industry. Does the FDIC, that belongs to the bank industry, fully insure, that belongs to the bank industry, all my deposits? No. Who is this company? You're wondering about that. Who are the people conducting this meeting? What will I gain by fully participating? Are those some of the questions that are running through your mind? If you have other questions, type them in the chat and Mr. Green's going to see them and he will start to read them out, and I'll try to get them answered by the time we get through with this. So there's a lot of confusion about the Reserve Bank Deposit Act of 2020. Here's the website for it, and it's the CBDC, Central Bank Digital Coin versus FedNow. Now, and I want to say this very clearly. I have seen some scary stuff on the internet about these two things. They're trying to scare your pants off. If somebody's trying to scare your pants off, they're typically trying to sell you something. It's either they've got a system or a program they want to sell. They've got a series of broadcasts that they want to do, and they want you to watch them. They've got something that they want you to buy. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not trying to sell you anything. My deal here is I am here because I have a background in financial services, in banking, in insurance, in securities, and I think I understand this stuff a little. And there are people, maybe even people on this broadcast tonight, who understand it better than me. And so I applaud you. Share it. Share the information with others, because we have to rescue as many people from the banking system as we can. So FedNow, House Bill 14067, is just a technology to do money transfer starting January 16th, 2023. That's coming fast. How will it impact you? Well, today I went to the bank and I sent a wire transfer. I will have an app on my phone, and I'll be able to send my own wire transfers through the Fed. And they have to have this system to send money, because they're not going to be on the blockchain. This is in lieu of the blockchain, which is encrypted, which is secure. So this system, it'll be great technology. It might save you a couple bucks when you're doing a wire transfer, but it's the Federal Reserve taking control of the wire transfer system. Okay. The CBDC is a central bank digital currency. It's a government issued currency. 17% of, or 56 million people, rely on cash. These are called unbanked. And to those who run banks and the federal banking system, they think of that as unwashed. They might as well have put unwashed on there. I want to tell you something. This issue will be a problem, because there'll be 56 million people who don't have the facility to transact money. And so that when they start removing the currency in 2024, towards the end of the year, is what they're targeting. I'm not sure they're going to make their timetable, but that's what they're targeting. It'll be an issue. All right, so let's go. Why are we doing this? We want to tell you about centralized banking and government control. Started in 1780s, then 1913 Federal Reserve Act under Woodrow Wilson. This law created the central banking system. All aspects of banking were deregulated or regulated until the Carter administration. So we had that same stuff, and then in 1979, President Carter signed some legislation that was put into effect by Ronald Reagan and subsequent presidents as on a timeline, and our banking system has never been the same. We've had more bank failures than you can shake a stick at. And then, so we'll talk about current bank interest rates. A $2,000, remember I talked about that term APY? You can get, at some banks, they're paying 0.01%, which is the legal minimum, all the way out to 5% APY, annual percentage yield. 5% in annual percentage yield on $100 would get you $5 at the end of the year. So you keep $100 in the bank at 5% would get you $5 at the end of the year. If you have 0.01%, some of the bigger banks like Chase and SunTrust, and not SunTrust anymore, Truist, those banks have 0.01% interest on their savings accounts. So they're not going to pay you anything, literally nothing. Now, the comparison here is decentralized banking with blockchain technology. And so there's President Biden has a bill out there, House Bill 14067, that they're still working on to regulate the decentralized banking. And that was the whole point. so that it wouldn't be regulated under the control of any country. But it's going up against the centralized banking system, and money is flowing. 3 weeks ago, they had $90 billion leave the central banking system. Now, some of that money went back to the stock market. Honestly, went back to the stock market. A lot of that money went to the decentralized banking system. So we're talking about the Metaverse certificate or the Elemental certificate, where a $2,000 deposit deposit with rate of return, weekly rewards. That's what we have to say, weekly payback rewards of 5% to 22% weekly. I know that sounds crazy when you compare it to 5% yearly, but 5% weekly is what we have. Remember, innovation brings great things. When Henry Ford was driving down the road with a buggy and a mule, and said, if I can get rid of this mule, put an engine on the buggy, I could go faster and farther and won't have to feed this mule and rest him every day. And he did that. And so that revolutionized the transportation industry, and it made the Ford family wealthy forever. So we have our own innovation. So started in 2008, DeFi, which is Bitcoin, DeFi 2018, still looking into regulation. Joe Biden executive order wrote some executive orders. That's what presidents do when they can't get things passed through Congress. So that's where we are. That's where we are. That's why we're doing it. We're trying to introduce you to decentralized banking technology. Who are we? My name is Charles. This is my wife, Gail. Gail is a certified training manager, certified life coach, money empowerment speaker, and blog writer. And like Mr. McNeil said, I'm a former registered securities principal, banking, insurance, and securities. Certified financial education instructor. That's the only designation that I still hold. I'm a certified financial educator and instructor, and I'm a proud member of Wealth Builders Worldwide. And I've learned some things. Mr. Delco, our founder of not of Wealth Builders, but of GS Partners, has taught me some things, and I'm really honored to know him. And Dr. Best taught me some things too. So Stefan wasn't the only one that he poured into. He spent a lot of time pouring into a lot of people and using his energy to help us prepare our minds for the wealth that is coming our way today. He spent years preparing us to be able to handle and deal with the wealth and share it with other people. Okay, now Mr. McNeil talked about the word broke, B-R-O-K-E. What does that mean? If you look over here on the left, it says U.S. national debt, 31,557,000,000. And this is old because this is a clock. If you go out to the usdebtclock.org, you'll see these numbers out there. And it's bigger than this because it's on a continuous cycle, registering the debt. Now, what makes our allies and enemies so angry with us about how we are managing our money? We are the reserve currency for the world. All debt in the world is denominated in US dollars. If China owes Russia money, they owe them US dollars. If you can understand what I'm saying, okay? And if you look here, right underneath where it says US debt clock, there's a green box in that next block that says US gross domestic product, 26 trillion. So we're bringing in 26 trillion a year, and we have a debt of 31 trillion. That's what's making people so upset. We owe more than we bring in, and that's not a good thing. So when you talked about broke, Mr. McNeil, how prophetic. I didn't know that we would be, I'm sure you didn't know that we would be talking about this tonight. I tried to change things up a little bit because there's a lot more stuff that I need to talk about. Let's listen to these two ladies and see what they have to say about our debt.
That you say and have been saying it's just one big distraction. So, kicking the can down the road for the debt ceiling, the banking crisis. But the question is always, what are they trying to distract us away from?
The next big crisis, which, I mean, who knows when we're going to see that? But the reality is this is the end of the current system's life cycle. And it actually died in 2008.
That's
and
right.
they just pumped a whole bunch of, garbage into the system to make it look like it's still alive and still viable when it's not. I mean, did you look at Zimbabwe, right?
Yep.
Zimbabwe's stock market is up 600% because people are trying to save themselves for the depreciation in the currency because the public gets it and they've been dealing with it for a very long time. But is the stock market really going to save anybody? No, because the only thing you can convert your stocks into is this garbage that they're devaluing. And that's the only choice that they have. And officially, we have 3 cents left. And if you go on the Fred, you just see that continue to decline. So that's official. When we get to zero, is that because the public has lost confidence in this currency, in this con game, is absolutely over?
And that brings me to my next point, because you've been very vocal and transparent about your views on the crypto industry. And I want to get your thoughts on the SEC's crackdown, throwing a 1-2 punch this week to Coinbase, to CZ's Binance. The bigger question I have for you, Lynette, is what you make of the timing of this. I mean, their FedNow system is coming out, and a lot of experts think that they're just trying to destroy the competition. Do you think that makes
Absolutely.
sense? Yeah?
Oh, makes perfect sense. In fact, it was either the IMF or the BIS, Bank for International Settlements or International Monetary Fund, their paper that basically was private crypto's bad. Federal Reserve, central bank crypto's good. So, they brought it out. It got in 2009 was when Bitcoin came out. So it was about getting people comfortable. Now we have, as you pointed out, the FedNow accounts going into effect in July, so very shortly. What we need is a ginormous crisis that scares the crap out of everybody, that they then pump a whole bunch of these CBDCs in and say, go spending, right? Because we're a consumer-driven economy.
Yeah.
Here's a whole bunch of free money, right?
You say bigger
And they're
crisis.
attempting to get adoption.
I'm saying bigger crisis than what we just went through with the pandemic.
Yes, I think that was a test to see how far they could push people and what they could get people to do. But yeah, bigger than that. It has to be. We need to change the entire system. And things don't look the same today as they did before, just like they don't look the same as they did in 2007 before the banking system actually died. So yeah, much bigger.
Bring it home for us with this. Just your thoughts on what, the lack of action we're seeing in the gold price. Now, anyone who invests in gold really should not be tracking the price of gold daily, but I get the emails of why isn't gold higher, despite everything going on. Lynette, what's your take on what's happening here on the gold front?
It's truly so simple. Number one, what is currently happening in the markets is that the biggest debt bubble in history is in the process of popping. And the central banks are being integral in popping that massive bubble. While a rising gold price is an indication of a failing currency. And once you really understand that this stuff is going away, then you go to this stuff. But if you go to gold, it's outside of the system. And it holds no geopolitical risk and no counterparty risk. It is a proven inflation hedge. So do they want you to hold this? No, they don't. Why would they want you to do that? They can't just take it then.
And it's interesting, though, because we see central banks continuing to buy gold. In fact, World Gold Council just put out a survey that surveying most central banks, saying they have no intention of slowing down their gold purchases, trying to pull an add in. But everyone will focus and say, "Oh, but Turkey sold their gold." And I know you speak about this.
Right, because what is gold's function? Gold is savings. That's what it is. It's protection. What's Turkey going through right now? They need a lot of protection. So gold in Turkey, they're not selling it because they feel, they don't need it anymore. They're selling it so that they have access to the things that they need, because nobody will take the Turkish currency.
Exactly. Well said,
It's
Lynette.
doing its job.
It's doing its job. Lynette Zhang, thank you so much for joining us today. Always appreciate your insights. Crazy stuff.
So a couple of weeks ago, I did a broadcast, and there was a Russian lady on the broadcast, and she says, "How do you know that more banks are going to fail?" And I said, "Well, I'm not a prophet. I'm not being prophetic when I say that. What I'm doing is being a reporter." Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, her name is Janet, says she wouldn't be surprised to see more bank consolidations. What does that mean? The banks are going to fail, and they're going to throw these smaller banks, like they did with First Republic and Silicon Valley Bank, into larger banks, throw money at it to stabilize it, buy up all the bad assets, which is what they've done in the past, and just give Chase a bunch more new branches. Oh my goodness. So expect to see more bank failures. I can't say it any clearer than that. So who are we? We're GS Partners, powered by Swiss Valorum Bank Limited. Welcome to our community.
Here we are. And excited for the future. Yes.
Is going to change your life. We are one. Let's go.
GSB, your 10-year anniversary. We ready?
We have the card in our hand. I'm planning to develop way many more things in the Lydian world with my team.
Thank you all for being here.
The founder, the chairman of the board, Jose!
You are the first, and our company will be the first. I'm pretty sure that many more institutions will use our technology.
You love it? I love it too! Thank you very much. Let's celebrate 10 years. Thank you.
So GSB, Gold Standard Bank, the new digital era is here. We have Metaverse with Meta Mining, Meta Trading, Meta Brokerage, Meta City Estates, developments, NFTs, Meta Markets, Meta Gaming, and so very much more. This is FinTech at its best. This is the story of GSB, and I just wanted you to know that there is a story starting in 2013. And here's the year by year account of the major highlights of things that have happened. I'll skip over to 2020. In 2020, Gold Standard Partners was developed. Our senior leader, Mr. Michael Delco proposed to Mr. Hite that he allow us to market Gold Standard Bank's products. And after 2 attempts, on the 3rd attempt, he said yes. So that's how this part of it got started. So we had things happen in 2021, things happened in 2022, and here most recently in 2023, they launched Swiss Valorum Bank to be the lead piece of our company. So Swiss Valorum Bank will operate in 170 countries around the world, issuing bank accounts, MasterCard, Visa, and UnionPay. And those things can be used in 170 countries. GSB's success is not only due to innovation and commitment to excellence, but also on focusing on building an ecosystem with trusted partners. With more than 500,000 members, we have 500,000 members in this group now. And that is extraordinary. And it is highly attractive to the companies, the 7,000 companies that we have partnered with that are going to operate on our blockchain. So let me read a little disclaimer. This presentation is for the exclusive purpose of educating the community members and users of our products, services, potential rewards programs found on the GSPartners.global platform. So every effort's been made to make it clear. Every effort's been made to not obfuscate, I can't even say that word, anything. We want to be transparent in everything that we do. So I want to tell you that we're not financial advisors, and I'm not offering financial advice. We're not tax advisors, and I'm not offering tax advice. We're not legal advisors, and I'm not offering legal advice. Okay. GS Partners works all over the world with exclusive tech partners. Compliance is at the heart of our business. We operate in a highly regulated environment. We differentiate ourselves through good conduct, and we're well positioned to continue to thrive in an ever evolving regulatory environment. Why do we conduct ourselves? Because in an honest and honorable way, because the regulators are watching. They're watching. And we wouldn't do it if they weren't watching, but we would, because that is the character of Mr. Joseph Hite. He's an honorable man, and I admire him and respect him. So our partners currently operate in more than 150 countries worldwide in this regulated environment. So let's do a market overview. What are we dealing with here? GSPartners.global is a marketing hub. So we're a marketing hub, connecting communities to multiple sectors and industry opportunities. So here's some of the industries that we're involved in. Artificial intelligence, that's a $1 trillion industry. Forex market, it says 5.3, but the number is actually closer to $7 trillion of daily trading volume. Real estate with a global value of $382 billion. The crypto market, $1 trillion. Renewable energy, $928 billion. Nutraceuticals, $382 billion, and online gaming, $138 billion. Those are the sectors that we're currently involved in. There will be more sectors because there's 7,000 companies just chomping at the bit to be able to do business with us. Okay, so GSPartners.global is a marketing hub connecting communities to multiple sectors and industry opportunities. Here they are again. AI-driven markets, non-regulated market capitalization, global real estate, blockchain-driven, metaverse marketplaces, fintech, forex and payment systems, renewable energy, nutraceuticals, supplements, and online gaming. Here's some of the companies that we're doing business with. So let's look at the key. We're looking at the golden key. The certificates, the Elemental Certificate Series, are the golden key. Now, what door do they open? If you brought a pad of paper, write this down. Lydian World, Lydian, Lydian World. The certificates are the key to Lydian World. And so there are 9 certificate opportunities. When you become a member, there are 9 certificate opportunities. And I want to take a minute and go through one of the certificates. The certificates go from the Terra at $100 to purchase and $100 to load, so a total out of pocket of $200, all the way out to the Prana, which is $100,000 to purchase and $100,000 to load. Okay, so the price, $100,000 on the, this is the water certificate, excuse me. When I get started saying 100,000, I just like that number so much. I can't get it off my tongue. $1,000 to purchase it. Each certificate has a purchase price. Each certificate has a purchase price. So let's break it down and see how it works. The golden key: increase your weekly payback programs. All right, by simply increasing your blockfolio. That's our term, blockfolio. You haven't seen that anyplace else before. You might see the word portfolio in the securities industry, but we've got a blockfolio because we're on the blockchain. More blockfolios, more paybacks. So the purchase price is $1,000 USDT, 1,000 USDT, not $1,000, 1,000 USDT. And if you could look here, there are, let's see if I can make this work. Aha, I want to highlight this thing. There are, I want to talk about the purchase price. I want to talk about, there's the price, 1,000. I want to talk about the 1.5% for 24 months. On this fintech, 1.5% for 24 months, monthly payback program. So that's your foundation. You're going to get that 1.5% every month for the full term of the certificate. The blockfolio, it's 24 months for this one. Then look at that weekly payback, 5% per week for 52 weeks. Now, this is a return of your purchase price. So they take your purchase price and they give it back to you here over 52 weeks. Now, it's not just the $1,000 you get back, but if you take your pencil and your calculator and your pad, you'll see that 5% for 52 weeks is 260% of what you started with. 260%. That's awesome. So you'll wind up with $2,600 in the weekly payback. You started out with $1,000 to buy it, $1,000 to load it, and you're getting $2,600 just from this section. You're getting another 1.5% per month in this section. And then once you load it, you unlock the bonus that comes on the last day, $3,500. So you got 2,600 here. You got 3,500 here. I used to have a pad that told me how much that was, the 1.5% for 24 months on $1,000. I don't remember. That's $15 a month for 24 months on $1,000. Now this 5%, that's $50. You can take that $50 and spend it every week. Nothing's held back. If you want to spend it, it's yours to spend. All you got to do is hit the button that says withdraw. Or you can compound it and put it to work down here. It goes into this bucket and gives you, it'll start earning again. So it's already worked. Your money already worked and earned you 5% a week. You can make it work harder to earn you an additional 1.5% per month. Money's got to have a job. Money's got to go to work every day and bring back a paycheck. Get out and bring me a paycheck, money. Come on now. Get up off that couch. And the last piece I want to talk about, well, not the last piece, but next to the last piece, is a $3,500 bonus. Oh my goodness. And you know what? At the end of the 24 months, you loaded the certificate with $1,000. They're going to give you $3,500 plus they're going to give you your load back. This is fire. And you know what? There's no trading here. It's a fixed rate of return. And so I wanted to highlight that and make sure that you understood it. You may have some questions, and I'm gonna stop here in a minute and give you some answers. See if I can make it go a little further. Or is it stuck? Okay, it's stuck. Let's see if I can do this and make it go forward. Oh, it's really stuck. So I am going to stop sharing this thing since it, oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. That's a bigger picture. That's a bigger picture. The $3,500, and then there are six block folios that you can load. Come on now, stay with me. Fintech, renewables, Oh boy, technology. I love it. Renewables. The bonus goes up. The weekly payback goes down. 4,000 on the bonus, 4% per week on the payback. Real estate. $3,000 on the bonus, 3.5% on the weekly payback. All of them have the 1.5% per month for the term that they are. This one's 36 months. The renewables is 30 months. Then there's the meta portfolio, which is 18 months. And the supplements is the gaming is, oh, they want you to do that every 4 months, every 3 months. And then let's go backwards one and pick up the supplements. They want you to do this one every 3 months as well. So a 3% weekly payback. Oh, there's somebody else writing on my board. I don't know how I threw that guy out. And then there's on the gaming, there's a 4% weekly payback. And the bonus on those last two are in gaming tokens and or supplements. So that's how this thing works. Here's a look at one that has been fully loaded. And one of the things I want you to understand is that there's the purchase price and the load. And so when you load additional blocks on this certificate, you don't have to go back and add another purchase price. You don't have to buy another certificate, but you do stack your weekly payout. So if you load the fintech, it's 5%. If you load the paid weekly on the renewables, it's 4%. Now you got 9%. If you load the real estate, you have to do another load. You get a bonus for each of these loads, but they don't make you go back and buy it again. So your weekly payback on the certificate on this one with 4 blocks loaded is 15% per week. On $1,000, that's $150 a week. On $10,000, that's $1,500 a week. You follow me? On $100,000, that's $15,000 a week for the 52 weeks. Okay. All right. So this is the $5,000 nature certificate. I wanted to show you what it looked like. $17,500 bonus in the fintech. $10,000 in the meta portfolio. $15,000 in the real estate. And $20,000 in the renewables. This certificate, and remember, the only one that's not a fixed rate of return is the meta portfolio, and they trade that on the Forex market. That and they pay out 2.5% per week. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I think we've talked enough. Mr. Green, where are you?
Yes, sir.
What did I forget to say?
If,
how to get started. Oh,
yes. I was getting ready to say.
Oh my goodness.
Pay your 33.
How do you get started? The first thing you do is get back to the person who invited you here.
That's right.
They have what's called a registration or referral link, and they will give you that. And so a lot of the things that we have are members only. You don't have to be a member, but if you want to get some of the bonuses right up front in the first 30 days, become a member. And it's $33 a month. A lot of people treat this like a business where they are introducing partners and they introduce other people to this system. And there is there's a payment plan. There's a payment plan for the introducing partners. On the first level, Mr. Green, they pay 15%.
No.
So if you introduce someone, so, and I equate this to being in the financial services industry, Mr. McNeil. And when I was in the financial services industry, the insurance company paid the bank 7% for an annuity sale in the bank. The rep got 5%. The bank kept 2% for overhead. So if you can think about that, here you make 15%. Does 15 beat 5? You betcha.
Every day, twice on Sunday.
All day long, and 3 times on Sunday, because it's 3 times 5 is 15. You know what? there are people that say, Charles, this is a pyramid scheme or a multi-level marketing. And I call it person-to-person marketing. These companies have figured out that they have incredible products. What they don't have is a community. So what GS Partners is doing is incentivizing us to build this community. I just can't say enough about it. I really enjoy it. I enjoy being here. Mr. McNeil, give me some comments. What are you thinking?
I think you knock it out the park again. Them jokers at Candlestick Park diving in the water trying to find the ball. That's what's happening, man. And I've been remiss too. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, family, one of the unique individuals, kind of the straw that stirs the drink behind what happens here on Tuesday night, keeps us organized on our Zooms, as well as all the incredible flyers being directed and designed. She does them all. I mean, I don't know who else she does them for, but they're always phenomenal, very creative. And she's built this business purely online. And as a #1 recruiter, has to be on an individual level, enroller, done it all on Facebook and other social media. Miss Tanisha Glaspie, thank you for all you do for us, keeping us lined up. We appreciate you.
Agreed. I don't know what we would do without you. And here's the thing that's phenomenal. Miss Glaspie does all this while she was home as a single parent raising her daughter, and now with her daughter and grandchild. And she is just phenomenal. She's just phenomenal.
Absolutely.
And I heard a rumor once that you don't talk to the people that sign up with you or that people that want to ask you things until they register. Is that right, Miss Gillespie?
That's correct. I don't have a conversation with anyone until after they've seen a presentation and have registered.
That's probably why you're very successful. And here I am running my mouth and you're doing everything. You're doing all that on the internet, on Facebook and Instagram. You're just amazing. Just flat out amazing. And so I want to thank my wife as well, who keeps me kind of straightened out. She does it, I don't know. We've been married for 37 years. I don't know how she's put up with me for all those years, but I want to thank her for being my partner. You guys saw her picture earlier in that presentation. Get back with the person that invited you here. There's more to know about the certificates. I didn't tell you everything because the person that invited you here has been holding back on you. They know more than they've told you. So if you can't get they can't answer your questions, their sponsor can answer your questions. We're a community here, we're a family. And we try real hard to make sure people understand what they're getting into before they get into. Did I say, Mr. McNeil, that this project, everything that you're going to get, everything that you're going to, every payback that you're going to earn has already been made? Did I say that? And that we load everything into a smart contract. A smart contract. And so we can't, GS Partners or Gold Standard Bank or Swiss Valorum Bank can't take it. Once that smart contract is loaded with your money, we can't take anything out. It is programmed to pay out. There's no trading, there's no loans, there's none of that. All that just pays out, and it pays every week, every month. Before I came on the air tonight, I did a monthly payback compound and weekly payback compounds. It just happens every month, every week. It just pays back. And so, Mr. Green, what do you do with your paybacks?
Go get more, as we call them, assets. Everything we do is an asset accumulation here with GS Partners. That's what I do.
Yes. So that's what he does. Here's what I do. I have a mortgage. We moved here to Texas from Missouri because my wife got tired of Missouri, and she said, we need to get out of that place. And I said, okay, you brought us here, so we're getting out. All right, okay, so we came here, we built a new house, and so I have a mortgage. And so, you know, this idea of putting your money to work, Mr. McNeil, is really kind of, it's not new. It's unique. I'd never heard of it before, because here's my background. My father was born in 1889, and my grandfather was born in 1862. What does that make him? He was a slave. He was born a slave, 1862. My father wasn't a slave, but he was a sharecropper. And I was a senior vice president at a Fortune 500 company. Look what God did for me. So, so that's my background. You know, some of the things that have happened to me over the years things that I've messed up in a bad way, you know, God is still standing in the field with open arms, waiting for me to come back, just like he's waiting for you to come back. If you've been out there doing things you shouldn't be doing, God is standing in the field with open arms. Go read the story of the prodigal son. That's me. I'm the prodigal son. So what I do with the money that God gives me, I pay the mortgage. My wife has a Tesla. I pay the Tesla payment. You know, we lease cars because we're in business here. I pay my electricity and my gas bill. I buy groceries. You know, there's nothing like, Mr. McNeil, taking money out of your certificate, sending it off to the exchange, exchanging it for dollars, and then dropping that in your bank account, going to the grocery store and buying groceries with the money that your money has earned while it was at work. You understand what I'm saying? You can't beat that feeling. You can't beat the feeling of going to church and dropping money in the basket that your money earned, because it went to work. I'm just saying. This is different, folks. It's different. It's different because you've been squeezed like a pimple by the financial institutions while they've been abusing and using your money and abusing you. My wife says I talk about that too much. But if you don't know, if nobody's ever told you, if nobody's ever shared the information with you and you don't know, that they used, when I was young, they used to say, if Nixon knew Agnew, if Nixon knew they were breaking in, Vice President Agnew knew as well. It's a beautiful thing, Mr. Cardwell. It's a beautiful thing when your money can take you around the world. We've been around the world this year. We've traveled. I'm living my best life now. I just had my 68th birthday, Mr. McNeil, and I'm living my best life because these certificates don't hold anything back. If I decide I need to take some money out, I just hit the withdraw button. That's all I got to do. It's so simple. It's so simple. We'll help you. You want to get started? The person that invited you here will help you get started and help you. They've set this system up to build your wealth. Mr. Haidt has a goal of minting 50,000 new millionaires. And now he's saying some billionaires too on top of that, because he sees some stuff coming. And I'm just hanging on the block, baby. I'm not going anywhere. You know, we used to, in the hood, you used to see the brothers out on the block, hanging on the block. Hey, I'm hanging out on the block. I'm hanging on the block because I'm not getting off this block. I'm staying on this block until my grandkids are secure. I have 18 grandkids in Pakistan. I have 7 grandkids in the United States. I'm not getting off this block until my grandkids are secure with their legacy. That's what I'm doing. I'm done. I've pontificated long enough. Mr. Green, what you got for us?
Folks, we want to say thank you, welcome, and we will open your arms with next week's agenda. and next week's agenda will be the same. Elemental certificates, we will see you next week, same place, same time, and we will play one last song, and that'll be it. And you can go on with your evening. Thank you, and God bless.